Hello, everyone. Hola, mundo. Welcome. Hola. Welcome to Voces Poderosas 2024. I'm Jackie Bouvier, here to shine the light on our nation's most powerful voices of influence. I'm honored to have created a movement that highlights and celebrates the brilliance of our best Latino leaders. These interviews are here to inspire you, to show you our Latinidad, and showcase everything that all of these powerful voices and leaders are doing in our nation. Voces Poderosas is a transformative shortcast, spotlighting trailblazers, pioneers, catalysts, leaders. These exceptional professionals bring insightful wisdom to inform, inspire us, and catapult us, empower us, and take us to that next level in our careers, in our professional lives, and simply just provide us a roadmap that we need in this time. Today, I am honored to introduce to you Guillermo Diaz Jr., founder of Conectado Inc., CEO and chairman of HITEC, with a remarkable career as the former CIO of Cisco Systems. Guillermo's leadership and vision continue to shape the future of technology. Tune in as we explore his inspiring journey and insights. So, welcome, Guillermo. Bienvenido. How are you?
Thank you, and thanks for the energy. Wow, you get me all amped up already. This is great.
I love doing this.
Thanks for doing this. This is great. This is an awesome, display of what we all need right now. It's like this the hearing the stories of all of us, right? And where we came from.
It's amazing, and I love to hear it. And I know if I do, everyone else does. So I appreciate that because I truly love doing this. And I feel that this is not only empowering me, but others. And at the same time, the energy just comes from the excitement of having you as a powerful voice on Voces Poderosas. So why don't you tell us your story? Tell me about your journey. What is your why? What drove you, drives you, and will continue to drive you in your life?
Yeah, it's great. No, it's I always say just start with the why, right? Because that is your and I've learned this over the years. It just didn't like pop, like let's start with the why and let's start with, but it's really your purpose. And you asked me earlier when we were talking if that's a fake background, right? And it's not a fake background. That's an actual tree and my trees here. There's many more palm trees around my my yard because I grew up in where you live now. It's actually in Colorado, and I grew up in Pueblo though. Pueblo is south there, Pueblo, Colorado, and where I grew up on the east side is it's a tough area. It's like East anywhere, but. Um, but I always remember, right, growing up, I love Pueblo, Colorado. I love the east side, but there wasn't a lot of, opportunity. And it used to snow every winter pretty hard. And I remember growing up shoveling the snow, even though my brother says I never did it, but I did. But I remember shoveling the snow and all that. And I always told my mom, it's like, when I grow up, I want to live in a place where I have two palm trees in my house, at least two palm trees, one on each side. And I want to not be have to worry about shoveling snow. And so that's why, ever since then, I've had, wherever, even if I was in an apartment in Silicon Valley or wherever I was, I always had two little palm trees in my apartment. And then when I had a house, I planted two palm trees and so on and so forth. And now if you see my house here in San Diego, where I live now, or my house in Hawaii, in Maui, I have palm trees everywhere. So, and that's a little bit, but the real thing is about my purpose is I sort of learned my purpose through sort of I have this thing called the G compass. If you can imagine your North Star, your North Pole being your purpose, and you rise in the east, right? You rise in the east, the sun rises in the east, And that's where, you learn, you get your education. And for me, we didn't have a lot of money, so I went to the US Navy to get money to go to school. But in the Navy, I also learned about tech. That's where I got my tech. Back I was 17 years old, building networks for the one of the largest networks in the world, which is the US, the military. And but I also learned about connecting with other cultures. So learning that and then ultimately getting my education, my degree, and then landing in, my last base when I got out of the Navy was in Silicon Valley in the Bay Area. So I was in the right place at the right time. So there's obviously hard work, but also good luck, which is I was a tech person, having that skill set, being able to connect with other cultures in the Silicon Valley. So growing my career ultimately to the south, which is your platform, to build my career in tech, at mostly at Cisco Systems, which is at least at the time was the largest tech networking company in the world, and building that up from sort of, many several decades of working there and becoming the chief information officer at Cisco, C-level at a Fortune 40 company. And then, if you think about then how all those come together in your perspectives, you're kind of the sun sets in the west and all those things come together at the end of the day, which is, what you've learned, what your grit, your ganas, your experiences, your skills. And now not only I left Cisco several years back and built my own company, Conectado,
Yeah.
and also on the boards, bringing all those perspectives of Blue Shield of California, and Jack in the Box, several others, as well. And, and then it all kind of goes and says, well, everything that I'm doing aligns with my purpose. So that's I know it's a sort of a long answer to a short question, but that's my why. And my goal is, my why is, how do we make sure that more people like me that grew up on the East Side, that grew up in these underrepresented communities, have opportunities to what we're dealing with today, AI, the challenges of being underrepresented in these industries. And so having a voice there is really about the why, right?
I love that. And I feel like a lot of ambassadors, in a way, so to speak, have kind of come up of the woodwork and are doing what you're doing for all of us who are looking up to you, right? In terms of uh, bringing us to that seat at the table, right? And understanding the underrepresentation. So I think that that's very important that which I think we talked about a little bit in terms of the book you guys put out recently.
So for me, I grew up mostly in a Hispanic community. So it wasn't like, it was like, hey, where are the Latinos? I didn't know anything different, right? So my culture starts with where I'm from. So it's almost the other way around for me. And people ask me about what does Hispanic Heritage Month mean to you? It's like, well, for me, it's more presentations. That's what it is for me, right? It means that people are asking me to do more presentations because I want, and here, I guess this is a message for everyone. It's like, this is not about a month. This is about, we have to live this every day, live who you are every single day. And, you could go back to, you know, August, you go back to July, go back to April, go back to January. You would hear me say the same thing, right? It's not about the month. You know, it's about living my Hispanic heritage every single day. And from September 15th to October 15th, all it means to me is we get to, celebrate it more, people, highlight it more, but it means more presentations, but it's just, it's we have to go beyond that and go, how do we live it, every day? How do we have Hispanic Heritage Century or decade? Um, and so that's kind of the where I come from. And the other side of that is people ask me is like, hey, how did you grow to become a C-level at, this Fortune, 50 company? And, because how did you manage the Latinidad in that? And it's like, well, first of all, I want to flip the conversation around is you need to have a mindset of you are a leader.
Mm,
You are aspiring to be an executive. You're aspiring to be that leader, and you're aspiring to be, and for my case, a technologist that's bringing things together. And I happen to be Latino,
mhm.
right? And so because I live it every day, it's like, no, I want you to see me not as the brown guy in the room, because I am brown, right? So I'm a Latino and I happen to be, browner than most. But I don't want to be like, oh, here's the Latino in the room. I want to be, that's the leader in the room. And he's leading all of us. And I'm also bringing my heritage every single day to say, by the way, there's another X amount of me out there, right? And there's more of me out there than any other demographic, except the white demographic, of course, and the fastest growing. There's more of me in the last 4 years. 91% of the population growth in the United States came from the Latino community. 91%. So there's more of me growing in this community than just me being in the room. So we need to make sure that the people that live in this country that want to be leaders, that want to be, doing well and happen to be Latino are getting those opportunities. And that's kind of the way I see it, if that makes sense to you, right?
That makes sense completely. It makes sense. And I think that's important for everyone to hear and understand because sometimes we do wonder, right? And I talked about this a little bit as a gatekeeper and the key holders, right? And how powerful that is, but how important that role is because don't want to just bring anyone on, but you want to be the one that opens the doors for others. So it sounds to me like you're doing an amazing job at doing that, and I commend you for that. I want to just ask you, like, what last words of advice would you give everyone out there, the younger generation?
The younger generation is don't forget where you came from, right? So I remember where I came from. And as you're doing this, you're building relationships. You mentioned something about doing these shortcasts for even for connecting to your kids. And so, I would also say you're building relationships. Those relationships matter, especially when you go for a job or a degree or a board seat. Those relationships matter probably 80% more than anything else. And so building those relationships and looking at the issues that are coming up every day, remember these three letters, ROI. And I don't mean just return on investment. I mean relationships over issues.
Oh,
Issues are
wow.
going to happen every day. The more you invest in the relationships, the easier and the faster you will resolve issues. And so when you invest in those, your ROI, your return on investment becomes much more magnified.
Wow, Guillermo, you're amazing. Thank you so much for being on Voces Poderosas. Thank you for your insights. Thank you for everything you've shared. I want to hear you for like hours.
And
You have
don't
so
don't
much to
forget to
share.
go check out the Latinos in Tech report here as well.
Yes, it aligns with everything that's happening, and I got it at Latitude. I think it's amazing, and you guys are doing a great job. Thank you so much. And I just want to say that you are truly making a difference and you're very fearless and great about elevating this. And I really appreciate your time. Thank you, Guillermo.